Minister of State for Grand Bahama responds to criticism that questions the government's commitment to making Grand Bahama a tech hub. One man leading the charge for the 8 Mile Rock Causeway to be named in honor of a local activist. And a local primary school the recipients of new computers and tablets.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Senator the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, is responding tonight to criticisms from the CEO of GIBC, who claims that the government isn't doing all it can to transform Grand Bahama into a technology hub. The CEO, in an interview with the ZNS News yesterday, said GIBC was shouldering that responsibility on its own and called on the government to do more. Italia Hall has the government's take tonight.
The CEO of GIBC Digital, Greg Wood, telling ZNS News this week that the company was forced to shut down its doors in Freeport and lay off employees due to the lack of revenue. He also claimed that the company was faced with the task of turning Grand Bahama into a tech hub alone without the full support of the government, which was unsustainable. While the Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Senator the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, confirming that he met with officials of GIBC on Thursday in New Providence to discuss their concerns.
We had a very open, very productive meeting. They expressed to us some of their recommendations in terms of moving forward with the Tech Hub. We've also referred them to the Grand Bahama Tech Hub Committee that has produced the plan and the plan that the government is following. And we believe that there's going to be some dialogue between the GIBC and the Grand Bahama Tech Hub Committee. But the meeting was, we thought, a very productive meeting.
The minister noting that in this year's budget, some $1 million is allotted to fund projects by the Tech Hub Committee. He says the government remains committed to Grand Bahama and to the vision of technology becoming the third pillar of the economy.
This is going to take time. And it's actually going to take a lot of work in order for it to be done. And so we have put in a lot of effort. We have put in a lot of work in putting this, making this vision a reality. The Commercial Enterprise Act, which is the act that GIBC and a number of other tech companies were incorporated and came to the Bahamas, that was put into place for this very purpose so that these companies would be able to come. We've seen things like the free tuition at BTVI, which again was to focus on the tech courses and making them available for the young people.
The minister adding that the ICT program at BTVI was a part of the tech initiative as well.
We've gotten now 150 young people who've been trained in tech courses. We have the BH-1B visa program, which is now in effect, which really is a tech company relocation incentive. And that really was one of the recommendations by the Tech Hub Committee. And we've been able to put that into effect. We've also produced draft legislation, which is now in the consultative stage, which we believe will be moved on shortly with respect to cryptocurrencies and blockchain companies.
Thompson says that transforming Grand Bahama into a tech hub is a continuous effort, and they remain focused and dedicated to making that a reality. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable K. Peter Turnquist, says government has done its groundwork to bring economic change to the economy of Grand Bahama. He is suggesting residents exercise a bit more patience with the turnaround of the economy. This is what he told reporters this week when asked about the issue in light of the $12.1 million set aside for the Ministry of Grand Bahama.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way in development, economics. It takes a little while for things to turn around. What we've done is we've put in place over the last 2 years the foundation that where we can launch now and hopefully start to see the fruits of that hard work. In Grand Bahama in particular, you'll know that there are two major projects that are on the drawing board, and we're driving them to conclusion as quickly as we possibly can. Bearing in mind that these are international publicly listed companies that we're dealing with, and they have their shareholders and their board of directors that they have to satisfy that any deal that is made is in the best interest of the shareholders, and we on the other hand have to make sure that it's in the best interest of the Bahamian people.
DPM Turnquest was speaking to concerns that very little focus was placed on Grand Bahama in the 2019-2020 budget. In other news, the Right Honorable Maurice, the man called the firstborn of the governing Free National Movement, weighing in on the recent appointment of His Excellency C.A. Smith as the country's 10th Bahamian Governor General. The former ambassador says he supports the appointment as he believes it recognizes someone who has been working in the trenches to bring about change. He says he hopes the appointment would foster new energy in the office of the Governor General, saying it is good for the country at this time.
Someone who has gone through the good times and the bad times in the country, and therefore will be able to give better advice when it's called upon so to do. He has been my campaign manager until he was elected to Parliament, and then we worked together in Parliament, we worked together as ministers of the government, and he's prepared for it.
Ambassador Moore says the appointment brings great attention to Grand Bahama, attention he believes Grand Bahama truly deserves.
Grand Bahama played a major role in bringing about the change that we are now experiencing in the country. And choosing the Governor General from here, I think it's the right thing to do. And I think it will do well for Grand Bahama.
The Fishing Hole Road Causeway is just about complete, but according to the Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Works, Aram Lewis, some additional work must be done to give road users full access to the fishing village located next to the causeway. Tonight, a Grand Bahamian man is doing some advocating of his own. He says before the bridge is officially opened, steps must be made to honor those who lobbied for the Causeway Bridge for many years. Here is Talia Hall.
Now, if you have passed the Fishing Hole Road recently, you may have noticed a sign. Well, it was placed here by one resident by the name of Daniel Williams. He says he placed a sign here because he believes that the Fishing Hole Road Causeway should be named after former activist Caleb Outten for several reasons.
We would remember Caleb Outten back in the 90s when he was a high school student. He advocated strongly for the construction of a bridge across the Fishing Hole, which had become a hazard, and especially during hurricanes and any storm conditions, to the effect where it prevented people from the west accessing necessary services such as the hospitals.
He says he thought it was necessary for him to put it in the minds of the powers that be to remember Outten's efforts.
I want to state for the record, this has nothing to do with politics. This just wants to give credit and recognition to a young man who saw fit at the time, even when the majority of the population didn't view or deem his idea as feasible. He stepped forward with the dream, and today this finished product is a result of a seed that he planted. And so I think we would be encouraging other young persons to say, hey, look, you can dream big, even if others don't see it.
Now, during the interview, Harold Cash, a resident of West End, stopped to endorse Williams' efforts after noticing the sign.
I saw the sign like a couple of feet away as I was approaching the bridge, and I saw the word Caleb Outten Bridge, and I really agree. And I said, yes, I agree, because it is. I recall that he agitated for this bridge to come to pass and fruition. It may come to fruition, and this is where we are today in the future, and I am happy for it.
Williams claims a lot of Grand Bahamians share his sentiments.
I have already walked the bridge bearing the sign of this name, the Caleb Outten Bridge. So symbolically, the name has already been placed on the bridge. Any other name that might be attached to it will just be a false false effort, because in the psychic of the people, this is already the Caleb Outten Bridge. We just want to have it done officially.
It's Halia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Police still actively investigating the details surrounding a break-in at the Solomon Supermarket on Queens Highway involving a First Caribbean ATM machine. Assistant Commissioner of Police Samuel Butler says they're making tremendous progress and have several persons in custody, adding that police have collected a number of exhibits, including money. Now he says he is satisfied that the banking institutions on Grand Bahama have made good effort to ensure that their machines are properly placed, but there can always be methods to further enhance security.
We have a machine on apparatus as such as place. If someone want not to be law-abiding, they would find a way. And so we will be talking in our close quarters with the banking institution. But today, as we look and make our analysis, we are satisfied that those apparatus are placed in secure environments sufficiently to have the general public able to use them. And yes, there are additional constraint methods that can be engaged.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Don't go away, there's more news right after this break.